So I went to see Elton John for the first and last time. I have a lot of thoughts, I have a lot of feelings that I want to talk about in this video, so I better get started because I don't want to be filming for the whole entire day because I think it's gonna take a long, long time. So I went to see Elton John for the first and the last time. The first time because probably explains itself. In the years that I've been a fan of his music, I never saw him live before. And the last time because this was the Farewell Yellow Brick Road tour, which obviously is his final tour. He is retiring from touring when this tour is over. So I went to see Elton John on November 12th, 2022 in Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona. Actually, side note, my first time in a baseball stadium. Yeah, I've never seen a baseball game. This is the only time I've been in one, and it was to see Elton John. So the tour began in 2018 and is wrapping up in the middle of 2023. I believe it's July, but at the time that you're watching this and at the time that I'm filming this, it's already been wrapped up in the USA. 2018 seems like another lifetime. It seems like a long time since the beginning of a tour, but I'm assuming he wanted to play in as many different places as possible. The time it takes to travel across the world, like most of the world, not wanting to play a lot of back-to-back shows because touring is very hard on your physical and mental health for anyone, let alone somebody who's now in their 70s. And also, you know, why don't we just throw a global pandemic into the mix there where there was no live shows for over a year. Also, Elton John said this himself towards the end of the concert, that this was his 267th show of the tour and his 89th show of 2022. I've been to so many shows in my life and I wish that I had done this after every one because, I don't know, I always have so many thoughts and feelings during and after a concert, and up until a certain point I haven't been doing YouTube, so I don't know, it just, now I feel like I have a place where I can actually like tell these thoughts to and these feelings to and talk about an experience after going to something like this, because I love concerts and I love live music, and chances are if you're watching this you do too. So I'm hoping that you're happy to listen to me and just talk about the concert and my thoughts and just about everything about it really, as best I can. Just a quick disclaimer, is that the right word? I don't even think it's a disclaimer. This isn't necessarily a concert review. I'm not reviewing the show I went to. I do not have a career anywhere near Elton John, so I am certainly not authorized to critique anything he does. Yeah, I have no ground to stand on to critique him specifically. I just want to talk about the concert that I went to and share my experience. And yeah, when somebody has a career that spans as long as his, over decades, people and generations of people are going to have a different experience of an artist that big who's been going for that long. People who are older than me have a different experience of his music to me, and then people and kids who come along after I do are, you know, probably going to discover his music after he's retired from touring. So it's going to be a different experience for different people depending on a lot of things, but I do think, you know, depending on age, when it's been a career spanning over decades. Even just as an example, I texted my aunt in England when I was going to the show of like, yeah, I'm going to Elton John tonight, and she was like, oh, I remember going to see him in the 70s when he was brand new. And it just felt weirdly full circle because I was going to see him on one of his last shows ever. So it just was a completely different experience for me. For me, someone who's born in the 90s, my first exposure to Elton John was Lion King. I did not grow up in the era of Elton John being, you know, the crazy costume guy. That wasn't, I didn't really realize that till much later on. I didn't see him that way. You know, he was the guy who sang Circle of Life in one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. Other than Lion King, this is very specific now, and I don't even know if anyone watching this will know what I'm talking about, but if you do, you have to let me know. Elton John was also in a Bob the Builder Christmas special that I remember owning on VHS, and that was one of my favorite things to watch as a kid, especially at Christmas time, but just in general. The whole story was literally like there was a band and Elton John was the keyboard player in the band. He was also the songwriter and he was struggling to write a song throughout the whole thing.
It's not easy writing songs, you know. I'll be right back. Groovy!
Working with Rowley to try and write the song, and then at the very end their lead singer gets laryngitis, so then he goes on to be Elton John, and Crocodile Rock is the song that he wrote. So for me, it's Lion King and Bob the Builder Christmas special, which probably sounds ridiculous to anyone older than me, but that's the way it was for me. And of course, I grew up and got more into music and learned way more of his catalogue and realised the length of his career, and it really is just a testament to his success and his hard work and his talent that he's had a career for this long. So let's get into talking about the concert. One of my favorite things about going to a concert is that little bit of anticipation beforehand. Like, you know it's getting ready to start soon and you can kind of feel the energy in the room kind of slowly start to change. People are kind of like, yeah, it's getting time now soon. At least that's me anyway. I'm like looking at the watch or looking at the phone like, it's almost 8 o'clock. Also, interestingly, there was no support act. It was just him, and he started at 8 p.m. sharp. I love when the lights first go down and it's like this cheering starts, and then you just, I don't know, that first, it's like a little bit of adrenaline, and it's that first note or chord or whatever it is, that first bit of music that you hear, and you're like, oh yeah, this is gonna be good. We're in for such a treat for the next couple hours. And yeah, I definitely have adrenaline and butterflies and all that stuff. So he comes out on the stage and hits one chord, and I'm gonna show it to you now. I'm gonna demonstrate for you. Not nearly the same way. Well, my hair is crazy today. I just washed it, so it's got a mind of its own. So he comes out and he plays this chord. And then does nothing for a minute. Crowd's like getting warmed up, and then he does it again. And then slowly builds it up. Benny and the Jets was the first song. So fun, so cool. It was a really nice kind of introduction to the whole night. He did this vocal run that's not on the original recording, and I don't know what it is. I just obsessed over it. I just thought it was one of the coolest things, and I've watched it over and over and over again. I'm just like, it's so cool. It was like, again, copyright claim. If I can insert the clip, I will here. I have footage of the concert again. I just want to be careful about copyright claims and stuff, even though I get copyright claims all the time, and I don't know, it's probably fair use. So, because I'm changing the context, so it should be fair use. Some people don't understand that though. He goes, can he run? Have you seen him yet? Whoa, oh, but the song's spaced out, Benny and the Jet, Benny and the Jet, man. He kind of did that. It was really cool. It was not the original melody, but I really, really liked it. It was so cool. Keep watching it over and over again. So anyways, that was really cool. Benny and the Jets was first, and then other songs he did in the set, and I'm picking out the ones I remember. It wasn't quite, I'm not listing off everything he did, but you can look up the set list online if you're curious to. I guess that's why they call it the blues. Tiny Dancer, which was a privilege to see live. like truly. Rocket Man, which I'm going to come back to Rocket Man because I want to talk more in depth about Rocket Man a little bit later in the video. Someone Saved My Life Tonight, Candle in the Wind, Funeral for a Friend, Into Love Lies Bleeding, Sorry Seems to Be the Hardest Word, Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me, The Bitch Is Back, I'm Still Standing, which was really cool. It had like montage footage of like career highlights and TV specials and basically like all the things that he's done, which really was like, for me, driving home like how much this guy's actually done. Like, it's actually crazy. You know, Grammys, special performances, even like cameos on, you know, TV shows. Like he was on Will and Grace and The Simpsons and South Park, and just to name a few. He did Crocodile Rock towards the end, which was really good. Saturday Night's Alright for Fighting, which was one of my favorites too. That song just gets me so pumped. That also had a montage of like lots of fight scenes from different movies, and it was quite hilarious. It was very kind of slapsticky, but it was really funny because that song is yeah, it suited the song perfectly. I also didn't really mention so far, but the visual effects on the stage were also really, really gorgeous too. Montages from fight scenes across lots of different movies, including Rocket Man when he's like bashing the piano on his head. That was really energetic. That was kind of building up towards the end. It was really energetic and lots of colour, lots of flashing colour. That was great. I really, really enjoyed that. So before we get to the end, the encore section, I want to talk about Rocket Man for a minute. Rocket Man was the highlight of the show for me. If you're a musician or someone who sings or plays music and you're watching this, you know when we get the dreaded question, what's your favorite song? Or who's your favorite artist? I don't have an answer for that. It's like saying, pick who was your favorite child. You're not just going to go, yeah, that one. There's just too much music in the world to pick a favorite. However, I've come to realize, and I kind of knew this anyway because I've always loved this song, but seeing this performance of it just made me realize Rocket Man is like one of my favorite songs of all time. One of my favorite. I couldn't say that I have a one favorite song because I don't, but Rocket Man is one of my favorites. Not too long ago, the world got Taylor Swift's All Too Well 10-minute version. That night, we were treated to Rocket Man 10-minute version, and it was just amazing. Oh my god, it was just amazing. I just feel so fortunate to have witnessed that and to have watched it and heard it, listened to it, seen it, everything. I was tearful during, and I've teared up multiple times since watching the clip that I have. That song alone would have been worth the entire night. Like, that's how good it felt to me. Maybe it's a mixture of the whole space theme. I don't know. There was like space graphics and stars and planets in the you know, up on the big screen on the stage. Maybe there's just something about space that kind of makes you feel existential. Side note also, I recently watched Interstellar for the first time. I'd never seen it. And it was that kind of a feeling where you kind of go, oh, existential is the only word I know how to describe that feeling. And also combining music with that feeling, it almost makes me greater appreciate music in general, because I'm like, we're so lucky to have it. We're just so lucky to have it. Another side note, I'm also working currently on my first EP, and one of the songs is also space themed, which I didn't directly do that on purpose, but it makes sense now as to why I love Rocket Man so much. So watch this space. So it's him and the piano, and then the bass kicks in, and the bass is just booming. You know, when it just like hits you right in your torso, you're like, oh yeah. Also, the slide guitar is magic. Like, it's magic in the recording, but to hear it live, it really, really just, it really hits. Gives you that sense of like, it's almost like the slide just going up and down. It's like a floating orbital, all that kind of stuff. Like the slide guitar was a perfect choice for that song, and just to hear it live, it just, yes. And then they break it right down, and the piano and the guitar do this kind of call and response back and forth with this, you know, this little melody like da 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 da. It's kind of almost in, yeah, it's call and response. It was just so pretty, and the starry footage behind it was really, really pretty. And then it kind of morphed into like they were in harmony with each other. It was kind of call and response into like in harmony, and there was chimes, just gorgeous. I might actually just have to show you footage again. I might even watch it along with you just to give you a taste at least of how magical this was. Harmony. Oh. Ah, that just hit me. I'm even like, I can like feel the emotion every time I watch that. It just so gorgeous. Also reminds me of School of Rock when he's like, chimes, Freddie. Then out of nowhere, we get a bluesy gospel section, which was, yes. So good. And the wall kicks in. Love it. Then we go back into think it's gonna be a long time, and it ends, the song ends. This performance just really made me realize how much I love this song, and I just felt so grateful to have witnessed that. It was just my favorite version of that song that I've ever heard, and I'm so glad I have it for myself to just pull out whenever I need a little bit of inspiration, because I've been needing some lately. So yeah, it's just great, and I'm so happy to share it with you. I hope you appreciate this as much as I do. I have a feeling you do if you're here and watching this far into the video. So it goes backstage and then comes back for the encore section. This isn't a review, and I said that earlier, but the only thing I suppose, and I wouldn't even call it criticism, because I know why he did this, but he came out and sang Cold Heart. The band obviously took a break, which I totally get that. He was wearing robes, I think it was PJs, I'm not sure, which was amazing. He sang it with a backing track, and this is not like, again, I'm not criticizing him. He gave his vocals a break, which was what it looks like. He sang the verses and then, you know, got the crowd to kind of sing the chorus Dua Lipa part. My only thought was like when the track started, I just felt like the whole thing went flat. Now again, It's not a criticism of the concert because I know why he did this. Give the band a break. I was gonna say give himself a break, but he still came out and sang a song. He sat at the piano but like faced outwards and just, you know, sat with the microphone and sang most of the song. So it was really just a breather. So I totally get that. But I suppose it was just, for me, it's a track versus live music, which when you've been hearing this band, you know, his touring band and the band that's been mostly with him all along or for a long time, everything is just so, like, the sound is so great and they're so well rehearsed and just everything is just so stellar. Then to just hear a track that it just fell flat. I don't dislike Cold Heart. It's on my gym playlist, you know, but it's just it's clubby, and that's fine. Not really my taste, but like I said, I like the song, but just that kind of music isn't really my taste. It was very thumpy and quite clubby, and it just kind of, I don't know. I'm just someone who just likes the live band. So just to hear a track, I was a bit like, let's bring the band back. I get it. Give the band a breather. He didn't want to push it with the vocals. I still respect the hell out of him for coming out and doing another song when he probably could have just stayed and chilled for 3 or 4 more minutes. I would have been fine with that too. But you know, that song is #1 around the world, or it was #1 around the world. He said it himself live at 75 years old to have a #1 hit globally. Nothing to knock there. It was lovely the way he did it, the way he transitioned back into the final 2 numbers. You know, Cold Heart, at 75 years old, I've had a global hit. Now let's go back 52 years to my very first hit. The band is back at this point and he goes into Your Song. Just himself and the piano. And again, as soon as the piano kicked back in, I was like, yes. It's like, this is why I like live music better than tracks. It just was so, like, musical, authentic. So he plays Your Song. The band kicks in after a while. I think he does, you know, he does verse, chorus, verse on his own, and then the band kicks in later, something like that. As soon as he hit that first chord on the piano, it just kind of, after hearing a track, it just kind of like hit me in the gut again of like, yes. A beautiful way to end the show with Your Song, and then his final song, which was, of course, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. It felt quite intense in the moment when he started talking about, you know, over the years and now how it's like the closing of a chapter. Now it's time for him to spend time with family. Like, he's only retiring from touring. He's not retiring from making music. He's still going to make music, but he just said he's ready to spend time with his family, which is, of course, well deserved. He said goodbye and then started the song Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. So it just kind of, in the moment, it was very, you know, just poignant, I suppose, marking the end of an era and marking the end of one chapter and the start of a new one for him. Towards the end of the song, the platform that he's on with the piano starts moving slowly towards the other side of the stage, and then he gets up onto this little platform that goes up slowly. Like, the stage is kind of like this, so he kind of goes up very slowly on this little lift, and then he kind of disappears into the darkness, and then up on the screen there's as if it's him, but it's not, obviously. He's just walked backstage and he just kind of is walking back into the picture, and he's kind of walking back up the yellow brick road. It just felt very bittersweet in the moment, because it really was like he was saying goodbye, and I felt like I was saying hello because it was my first ever show, so it was very weird. I was kind of like, oh, it's been all this time and I've in a way missed so much, but, you know, not missed anything either, just, you know, I've still been able to consume the music and appreciate it and enjoy it. So it was a bittersweet moment. I was sad because I felt like I kind of just arrived and then I had to say goodbye. And also just, I don't know, I just feel so happy for him. He's going to spend time with his family, and I'm just genuinely just so happy for him and so happy for his success, and it's so well deserved. I also had such a feeling of like, thank you for the music. So it was all of those feelings kind of in one at the very end of the show. Phoenix was like his second last city, because he went on to LA then the following weekend, and that show is on Disney Plus now for forever, hopefully. So I actually haven't watched it yet, but I do really, really want to watch it. And those are my many thoughts. Many thoughts. It genuinely made me so happy to talk about this. You can probably tell. So I really do hope you've enjoyed watching this video and hearing what I've had to say. Why does my t-shirt look lopsided. There we go. If you're a lover of music, and specifically a lover of Elton John, I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and please in the comments tell me your experience of his music. And yeah, I'd just love to hear other people's stories too, because mine is just one of millions. So I'd love to hear other people's too. And part of the reason why I love it so much is because it is generational at this point. Is that, like I was talking about earlier in the video, people who are older and younger than me are going to have completely different perspectives. I would really love to do this again, because in April of this year I went to John Mayer, his solo tour, and I also went to Riverdance, and I've been thinking about doing a similar thing where I sit down and tell you my thoughts and just talk about the show. And yeah, so let me know if you'd be interested in seeing those videos too. I'm planning on filming them pretty soon after this one goes live for you to watch. So yeah, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. It really means a lot to me. Please comment and like and subscribe if you haven't already. I also have new merch that I just launched like not that long ago. So I'm going to link it down below. I'll show you some of the products here on screen. So check them out if they look fun to you. And I'm so appreciative of anyone who chooses to support me and my music through merch sales. So thank you so much. Hope you have a great rest of your day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you very soon in the next video. Bye.